the system.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Executioner, and if you don't know, now you know. And speaking of you knows, you know why we're here today. And if you don't know, let me tell you why. We're here today because we're going to be talking a little bit, or a lot of bit, about this next season. It's going to be the second season of MLR. So we are currently in 2011. And I will say it's been quite the off season. If you did listen to my most recent podcast, we went over some of the trades that had went down. We went over the free agents and whatnot. But this time around, we are literally hours away from the very first sim of this year. And I know I'm excited. I know there's a lot of people out there that are absolutely excited. I know a lot of people aren't listening live. Poldy, I see you. What's up? Thanks for listening on in. I know you've been listening to podcasts all day too. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of where we're at as of right now. So I'm going to keep this going right now. There was actually a few things that I wanted to go over first. So I do want to let you all know this is a preview. So I'm going to go ahead and just preview every division in MLR, basically in baseball that we have today. So we're going to be going over the teams. If you didn't see, I actually did put up a little bit of I don't know what you would call it, like a card of some sort that allowed everybody to kind of give their thoughts about their team. So let me double check it here again. I mean, because I completely already forgot about it. So basically my questions were, what are your team's aspirations? What is the strongest part of your team? Players to watch, breakout prospects that may crack the MLB this year, top prospects to watch, younger ones, some that may not be going down as of right now, and some final words for whatever reason. Excuse me. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here today, and I did get quite a bit of responses, and I do appreciate everybody who did. And if you didn't, that's completely all right. Don't even worry about it. I mean, it's, everybody has stuff to do. Everybody has things to do, people to see, people to do. And I understand. Don't even worry about it. So I'm feeling great. I don't know about you guys. I'm actually feeling really good about this season. Even if you are just rebuilding and kind of just taking your time, it's really fun. Honestly, ever since we moved to MLR here on Discord, it's been a lot easier than going to a forum, 24/7 or as much as you can, posting, checking out trades and all this other stuff. Everything's kind of just at the reach of your phone, which is super cool because, I always said that, there would be really no point in walking or talking or not talking, but walking anywhere or going anywhere if I had the exat chat on my phone that was like actually usable and didn't die every like 3 seconds or whatever. So, I mean, that's just kind of like what I'm thinking here. But anyways, so we can definitely get it cracking. We're going to start off in, Boston of the AL East won the first World Series, which was, last year's World Series, whatever, the first World Series. And they beat me, of course, the Dodgers. They took us quite the distance. We tried to make a comeback towards the end, but it wasn't enough. So congratulations to the Red Sox as they took the first year in terms of World Series. And honestly, like, it's super cool. He really didn't do too much. He was kind of away. I think he said he had a lot of school and stuff like that, which is all right. And that's another thing that's really cool about Mogul people is, honestly, Mogul is really chilled and laid back. There are guys like me who take it like a little bit more serious than they probably should. But honestly, it's just in my nature to be competitive, and that's the reason why I go crazy a lot, especially in trying to trade so much. And speaking of trades, I mean, you want to talk about going completely crazy with trades? We actually had quite a few bit of trades here today, and this was kind of out of nowhere. I honestly didn't expect Allen, a.k.a. Bard, a.k.a. the Mariners GM, to kind of go all out like he did. So, I mean, I'll just go ahead and I'll start off with this. He went and traded his first overall, or should I say the Braves' first overall, whatever, the Mariners' fourth overall in the second round, so second round pick, Michael Walker, Skaggs, Bell, Dixon Machado, not the actual Machado, Dixon Machado, some other random dude, and Guillermo Heredia. They actually went and traded for Justin Verlander, Andrew McCutchen, Giovanni Gallardo, Billy Butler, Alex Avila, and Austin Jackson. And honestly, that's an absolutely huge trade. It's almost one-sided, but honestly, the first overall reel is super, super valuable because if we're looking at actual points or, like an actual like point system in terms of trading, I mean, the first overall has the most points easily. And, especially in this upcoming draft, I will definitely talk about that as well. I know they said that I think they said the draft wasn't final, but I'll talk about some of the guys in there anyway, as it is. But also on top of that, he went right after that, traded Matt Adams, Kyle Seager, Josh Rutledge, Matt Whistler, Danny Duffy, Hunter Strickland, Mike Montgomery for Chris Sale, Nate Jones, Bobby Jenks, Daniel Hudson, and Alex Rios. So Chris Sale obviously being the biggest piece there because, I mean, now that rotation is looking quite good, and we'll definitely talk about that as I go along. Once we get to that division and whatnot. So let me go ahead and let me keep going. So as I said, we were going to talk about. We're going to go ahead and start the previews, and I think that was like the only trade really that happened. I know there were some people talking about it. Mariners did another trade, getting Marco Estrada for Tom Williamson and a fourth-round pick. Nothing too big there, but it was something that had to have been done, I guess. I don't know. So as I said, we'll go ahead and I'll take a look. So I wasn't able to download everybody's files and stuff like that. I wasn't able to download everyone's files or anything. So what I ended up doing was just auto-sorted everybody, and now I'm going to basically just go through and, I'm just going to basically go through and talk about it. And if any of the teams have the card that I sent them, I'll definitely read it to you as we go along. So first we'll start off in the AL East because that's where the Boston Red Sox, who were the first World Series winners, happened last year, is going to happen now. So they're definitely, looking at their team, they're definitely going to make yet another run. Looking at it, it doesn't look like they lost too much. I know they lost Kevin Youkilis in free agency, if I'm not mistaken. As of right now, he's not signed with them. I believe he's still in free agency, and I don't know if they if they had talked about when they were going to even get the free agents off their compensation, but I don't know. Anyways, so as I'm looking at it, I know Boston didn't really make any moves at all last year. I don't believe they signed anybody from what I'm seeing. So they're gonna basically just go in. They're basically just going in just the same as that's it. Like really, that's really all that happened. Boston is going in with the same team. Jacoby Ellsbury, Dustin Pedroia, V-Mart, David Ortiz, Adrian Beltre, and John Lester still at the top of the lineup, the top of the rotation. Jonathan Papelbon still the closer. So I guess if it ain't broke, then don't fix it. And I guess we're going to have to see how that works out because I know that New York, we'll move on to New York here. New York didn't do too much during the offseason in terms of trying to compete. What they actually did was they just said, fuck it. all we are all in is just in debt. And they were absolutely in debt by quite a bit. And they went out and traded quite a bit of guys. CC Sabathia, Mark Teixeira. Mark Teixeira is still on the team. Alex Rodriguez, Robinson Cano, and a few other guys, leaving them with kind of just a makeshift, really a makeshift team as of right now. So they're definitely going to be rebuilding. Excuse me. And as of right now, like, honestly, their team isn't all that great. So really, any star players or anything like that, I guess, would be like Nick Johnson. Gerard Dyson might be the guy to watch this year in terms of making a big jump. I know he's sitting at around 83.90 as of right now, which is really good. And I actually liked him early on because he has great speed. His bunting is ridiculous. His arm and his range is ridiculous. His fielding is okay, but that range is definitely going to make up for it. His contact is definitely coming around. So if his contact can hit 90s, he's easily one of the best leadoffs in the file, if you ask me. But as of right now, he still has a little ways to go. As I said, at least one more jump. If he can hit that one more jump, he'll be absolutely super. So I don't believe he did not send me anything in terms of that. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on to Baltimore, who also didn't send me anything in terms of how their team is going or anything like that. Like I said, which is perfectly fine. Just letting y'all know. So because I'm rambling about nothing anyway. So looking at their team, if I remember correctly, they missed the playoffs last year. They're in a really tough division. But they re-signed Zach Greinke, $25 million, which is quite a bit. And they didn't really do too much as of last year, or excuse me, as of I don't know why I did that. As of free agency, it looks like they did bring in Jonathan Sanchez. So I'm guessing Jonathan Sanchez is probably going to be. Let me see here. So he's going to have him like towards the back of his rotation, or maybe just in as a short relief of some sort. I'm not too sure. It looks like Joey Devine, or maybe Koji Uehara might be the closer this year. Even though Koji has like a lower overall, he kind of died last year, but his vitals are still actually not too bad. So I'm not exactly sure what he's doing here, and I wasn't able to speak with him either. He does have some prospects down in his minors right now. Michael Givens, reliever, 74.93, still very good, 20 years old. So, I mean, I'm not too sure if he'll crack the majors this year. I think his jump will probably consist of him getting to like 78, maybe 79 if we're really pushing it. If he does make it to the 80s, that's an extremely immaculate jump. That would be really good for him. But as of right now, that's not what we're looking at. A guy that's closer is Ulyss Chacin, 79.88. So this guy will definitely at least crack the major leagues this year. Looks like his birthday was on January 7th, so he didn't have to worry about peaking or anything like that. So as I'm looking at it right now, as I said, 79.88, one more jump easily puts him in the rotation, and that'll still definitely be really good for him. It'll allow one of his one of the veterans that's sitting in his rotation to kind of come down, because I think Chacin's better than at least Miguel Gonzalez and Brandon McCarthy as of right now. Another guy would be like Zach Britton. Zach Britton, see, if you're listening right now to the GM of Baltimore, I can't say your name because I don't even know how to read it, and I don't even think I want to try. So if you're like listening with Zach Britton, he's kind of sitting at 58 endurance. So, and it says right now his usage is as long relief. So if I were you, I would change his usage either to be a starter or to be a reliever. And the reason for that is, having his endurance sit around 58 doesn't really do too much because it just means he's not really a starter and he's not really a reliever. If I were you, with his potential and his vitals, I would make him one or the other, and that would make him most useful if you ask me. So that's kind of what I'm looking at in terms of, I guess on the other side, Cameron Maybin is a guy to look out for, 79-89 in terms of overall and peak. He has an April 4th birthday, so he's not going to drop 10 points. He might drop a couple. So if he can get a jump before then, that would actually be kind of nice, even though it won't happen. That's in 3 days. So Cameron Maybin looks like he's going to be pretty nice to fill out that lineup there. So, and last but not least, Tampa Bay. Now, I believe, did Tampa Bay send me anything? Let me double check. I have to remember everybody's names in terms of their Discord names, in terms of their teams. So, okay, so yeah, Jacob, you didn't send me anything, so I'll just go ahead and I'll talk a little bit about your team. I don't believe you made any transactions this year. It looks like you picked up Deoner Navarro and Carlos Quentin. So Carlos Quentin I talked about during the offseason, really big power bat. And as I said, he was more than likely coming to the Rays, and that's exactly what he did. He's here on the Rays now. Not too sure why he signed, what's his name, Deoner Navarro, as he has a plethora of catchers as of right now. But it looks like he didn't do too much from last year, but honestly, he really didn't need to, as his lineup is actually not bad as it is. They still have Melvin Upton. They still have Ben Zobrist, Evan Longoria, Ryan Braun. Then they added Carlos Quentin to the lineup. They still have Matthew Joyce and Carlos Pena, John Jaso. So, and also Desmond Jennings just kind of sitting there. I'm not too sure where he's going to play him. But, I mean, with Boston not doing too much, Baltimore not doing too much, and New York going into straight rebuild, Tampa Bay is going to definitely, make a run once again to get into the playoffs. It looks like he lost out on a couple of starting pitchers, but, I mean, honestly, as of right now, it looks like he's doing quite all right. It looks like he's going to have to add maybe one or two. Yeah, I'm going to have to say two starting pitchers in order to kind of keep everything, keep everything in check. I think Tampa has a really good chance of at least making the wild card. Don't really see them winning the division, but, I mean, crazier things have happened. So, if you're asking me, I think Boston ends up taking the division with Baltimore, fighting them quite at probably the entire time. As we go through the year, it's going to be Baltimore and Boston, if you ask me. And Tampa Bay will be right behind them, but they'll kind of be more towards the wild card, if anything. I say that Baltimore makes it. I say that Boston makes it this year. It's going to be really fun for them. So, now, moving on to the AL Central, as of right now, I guess we can start off with, let me see. Let's see who we have in the Central that sent me anything. I really don't even know. Let me see. So, yeah, I actually did get something from the Minnesota Twins GM, Semi Charmai, a.k.a. SCM, a.k.a. piece of shit. So, no, but all seriousness, I asked him, what are your team's aspirations this year as well as expectations going forward? He replied, the Dodgers suck. Awesome. What is the strongest part of your team? He replied, the Dodgers suck. Players to watch? He replied, the Dodgers suck. Breakout prospect that may crack the MLB? Can you guess? The Dodgers suck. Top prospects to watch? The Dodgers suck. Final words. He'd like to announce that the Dodgers still suck. So honestly, I don't know what to say. Listen here. Me and SEM go way back. All the way back
to when I had to watch him continually go under 500 year in and year out in our last league, as I missed the playoffs twice in like 28 seasons. So, SEM, you are absolutely right. The Dodgers suck. But we'll get to that a little later. As of right now, for your team, looks like you didn't do too much during the offseason there, buddy. As I'm looking at your team, it looks like you didn't sign anybody, didn't trade for anybody. So it looks like you're going to be going with the same old team you had last year, which isn't bad because at the end of the day, you won 100. I believe you were at 100 wins last year. I'm not exactly sure. Close. I know you were easily above like 98. You did win the division. You were one of my favorites. You were definitely one of my favorites going in to the playoffs, but in typical SEM fashion, you fucked up. So it doesn't matter. So Denard Span heading off the top of the lineup, Jason Kubel, Joe Mauer, Justin Morneau, Ryan Zimmerman, Danny Valencia, JJ Hardy, and that's really it as of right now. But that's still a really good lineup as of right now. I guess Brian Dozier, 78-93, ready to come up at any time. Legitimately ready to come up at any time. And honestly, if you're asking me, he's definitely going to be ready at least by mid-year. I mean, one more jump. As I said, he's going to come in. It has him down as a shortstop, but it looks like he can play shortstop and second base. Looks like second base is definitely a hole as of right now, as you have Orlando Hudson in your second baseman, excuse me. So honestly, that's already garbage. So nice job, SEM. Excuse me. No, I'm only playing. But as we keep going, and we're looking at anyone else, you still have Manny Machado still sitting in the wings, which is still really nice. He's not going to make the MLB this year, obviously. He's only 18 years old, 69-89. Really good contact. I mean, already has spectacular fielding. So all it really is just adding some years to Manny Machado. He's going to come up unless he gets traded at some point. I think he's really good. So looking at your rotation, the Minnesota Twins rotation, as of right now, everything's the same from last year. Dan Herron, Ubaldo Jimenez, Tim Hudson, Scott Baker, and Wandy Rodriguez. So you really can't go wrong. Like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because Detroit traded away everybody. Chicago trading away everybody. Cleveland still rebuilding. So Minnesota's easily going to win the division this year. Should I even go over anyone else? Yes, I will. That's kind of fucked up if I don't. But as of right now, Kyle Gibson still waits in the wings, 80 overall, 88 peak. His birthday is not till the 23rd of October, so he'll definitely have a jump, and he'll definitely jump right into the rotation. By the time he's jumped, he's probably going to be like third or fourth, more than likely like around the third. So he still has definitely a plethora of pitchers, and his bullpen is really good. Joe Nathan, still the closer. Billy Wagner, Pat Neshek, I don't know how to say your name, so I'm not going to say it, and Jesse Crane. So still a really, really, really good, bullpen as of right now. Now, I guess we can go on to Detroit because, as I said, Eric came in and absolutely just traded off everybody from Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, who else? Miguel Cabrera, and a few other guys. But he got back quite a bit of prospects. And as of right now, it's kind of funny when you kind of looking at just the team that he has. I mean, if depending on what happens in the West, I don't know, Detroit can make like a surprise run and end up in like sneaking into the playoffs towards the end. But I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and say that's gonna be a thing. I'm not really gonna go over anybody in the MLB because there's really nowhere to go over except for like maybe Dexter Fowler, Hunter Pence, and Johnny Peralta. So if anybody's out there looking for some outfielders, there you go. Dexter Fowler, Hunter Pence, and third baseman Johnny Peralta, not an outfielder, obviously. Those guys are still available if anybody needs any of those positions. Hit up Eric. Hit up his little red avatar. That's where he comes back and talks to everybody at that point. So as of right now, we are looking at Fernando Martinez, the right fielder, actually came from the Mets in the trade for, who was it? Son of a bitch. I already forgot. So for Miguel Cabrera, sorry about that. So Fernando Martinez is actually a really, really good prospect. Bats against lefties, which is one of my favorites because he has better stats against righties, which is majority of the files anyway. And that's honestly where you'll see the most statistical usage, if I may say. So already has an 85 power and a 72 contact, sitting at a 76 overall. So Fernando Martinez, easily one more jump, and he's right in the MLB, hitting it out with Detroit. Also have Dixon Machado, as I talked about earlier, who's actually a pretty decent prospect at shortstop. Probably one of the better ones just because of the way the shortstop and prospects are, like I should say, prospects, shortstops, whatever, the shortages of shortstops in this game. So he's not going to hit the MLB this year unless he has an immaculate jump, sitting at 68-87. But, excuse me, he's still not too bad. I'd say he'll end up becoming a decent shortstop, probably pretty good for the most part. He also acquired Josh Bell from Seattle, and Josh Bell looks like he was a 27th overall pick from last year. Josh Bell still really good, 67 overall, but his contact's at 77, power at 71, and his eye sits at 75. He's really good in terms of hitting. Defensively, he has quite a ways to go. Maybe put him at first base at some point. I'm not sure, but his bat is actually really good. So nice come up there. Other guys would be Jeffrey Marte, 74-90, another third baseman. I mean, this guy, power hitter through the roof, already sits at an 88 power with just a 74 overall. His peak is 90 as of this moment, and his birthday is around June 21st. So if he can get that jump before June, he's going to have a nice jump for sure. Probably won't touch the minors, maybe a September call-up. Not really looking all that well. There's still some other prospects that are still really good that are sitting in his minors on that side. I guess going over towards, let's see here, going over towards his pitching side, you got Rick Porcello, 77-87, has really high control. His command and power are right on par with his overall, and his movement is right down there. So I think Rick Porcello is actually going to be a really, really good starting pitcher. And I see Porcello jumping. I mean, honestly, if Porcello jumps, he's the ace of this rotation because Dontrell Willis and Jeremy Bonderman and Armando Galarraga ain't going to do shit. Let's see here. Drew Pomeranz, another person that could probably end up jumping right in to the starting rotation this year, 79-91. Let's see here. I mean, his control and his command are a couple points lower than his overall, but his power and movement already 80, 82, and 84 respectively. So he's obviously going to be a power movement pitcher as we go forward. As I said, one more jump, he's right in the lineup, or in the rotation, excuse me. Drew Smiley, I mean, he's another guy that I was talking about earlier in terms of endurance. A pet peeve of mine, and that's not for everybody. I'm not saying that you need to do this, because Eric, the GM of the Tigers, has been around for quite some time. Longer than I have, I'm sure. His endurance sits at 53. So it's like, do you want him to be a starting pitcher, or do you want him to be a relief pitcher? Because, I mean, you can't really have the best of both worlds unless you just kind of want him to sit in middle relief, long relief. For his vitals as of right now, he's easily, I'm easily trying to move him up to starting pitcher. And at this point, if you can get his endurance up to like 70 before his first jump, I mean, he'll have a double jump by then. which is nice. Chris Withrow, Adam Liberator, both of those guys from me, the Dodgers, both relief pitchers, actually really good. Let's see, we got Robbie Ray, we got I don't know how to say his name, Taiwan Walker. I'm just gonna say Taiwan. I think that's his name. Bruce Rondon, Corey Nebel, Kyle Ryan, and Aaron Sanchez. So there's like he has a bunch of good prospects kind of just waiting in the wings. And the cool thing about it is they're all less than 1 year or so away. So we could be seeing a Detroit team ready to compete by next year with a lot of young guys, or I don't know, maybe he trades them all off. We'll have to see. So I guess the next one up would be Chicago. We'll go with Chicago. The Chicago White Sox, ran by GM Ryan Morneau. Yes, he is the cousin of Justin Morneau. You can ask him yourself. But he did not send me a card, so we'll just kind of go over his team. As I said before, not really looking to compete this year. He did happen to get Matt Adams and Ike Davis in the same offseason. They're both lefty first basemen. That kind of sums up how Ryan manages. So another thing, Mookie Betts was the first overall pick. He didn't actually pick him. Excuse me. He was actually, I believe the previous GM picked him, which is still really, really good. I mean, how could you not want to fall into Mookie Betts? Mookie Betts currently 72-90, 85 contact already as it is, with a 97 speed. I mean, Mookie Betts is almost a sure thing at this point. If his power reaches, if his righty power reaches 80, I mean, Mookie Betts is like the best center fielder in the game. So he definitely has the potential because his fielding is already pretty damn good as it is. I mean, so it's just definitely a nice piece to add to Chicago to go along with like Ike Davis and Matt Adams, who are both, some sluggers, in themselves. So also Travis D'Arnaud, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Travis D'Arnaud, the catcher, 77-86, one more jump. He's right in the thick of things. He'll definitely take over for AJ Pierzynski. Pierzynski's about to die anyway, so that's always a good thing. Other guys you kind of have, Marcus Semien, Trace Thompson, the brother of I'm not even gonna try it at this point because I feel like I'm just forgetting shit. So on the other side, on the pitching side, right now he has Ivan Nova and Hector Santiago kind of at the top of the lineup. Hector Santiago is actually, or rotation, is actually really solid for the most part. Kind of sitting around 66 endurance. Need to get that endurance up. 83-92 as of right now. So his birthday is December 16th. So he's going to have one pretty big jump. Could reach about 88. Then you're going to have to worry about whether or not he's going to land in, Peaksville around that time. Or he might find one more year. I don't know. Definitely something to look forward to for his sake. Tyler Thornburg is 78-90 reliever, really good coming on up. Jose Quintana, almost missed him, is actually one of my favorite prospects, kind of looking at it. 74 overall, 91 peak, 82 control, 80 command, 75 power, and a 67 movement. So that is the perfect recipe for the perfect pitcher and mogul, if you ask me. So I think that's a really, really good prospect. Now that I think about it, I might try to go trade for him. No, I'm only kidding. I'm going all in. So other guys. So let's see here. Other guys that we're looking at, Jimmy Nelson, Willie Peralta, Mike Montgomery, Henry Mejia, Matt Whistler. So a lot of prospects that are actually looking really good right now. I forgot Hunter Strickland and Danny Duffy. Also some guys that came from Seattle. So as I said, not really going to do too much this year unless he starts trading, unless he gets crazy. Then he's going to start trading and start getting a bunch of guys. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So the Cleveland Indians would be the last team in the AL Central that we're talking about here. Damn, allergies killing me. Sorry about that, guys. All right, I'm back. So, as I was saying, Cleveland, the fourth team here in the AL Central, we're looking at a really, really young team. Paul Goldschmidt, Asdrubal Cabrera, Lonnie Chisenhall, Lou Marson, Carlos Santana. Also sporting Matt Laporta and Sin Chu Chu. Now, looking at this team, it's actually not really bad because you're looking at guys like Michael Brantley, who's ready for the MLB in his next jump and could jump in right now. You got Roberto Perez, another catcher. I mean, he has quite a bit of catchers. May want to look to trade some. Tyler Naquin, maybe a jump or two away, so maybe a year or two away. And, I mean, there's a lot of prospects here. Delino DeShields, chilling at the bottom. Enrique Hernandez, or Kike Hernandez, excuse me, whatever you want to call him. Just chilling at the bottom. So a lot of really good prospects. Michael Franco. I mean, I don't know who else to really talk about there. You know, it's a really good team as of right now. In terms of pitching, though, pitching is a different story for now. As of right now, kind of like their top, I guess you would say the top of the rotation is Josh Tomlin, Justin Masterson, both kind of sitting there just kind of doing their jobs. And that's kind of what you want anyway when you're in a rebuild year. Just guys to go out, get some experience. Maybe they have really good years. Maybe they find themselves in compensation next year. They could land you a 2. I don't know. So Corey Kluber, 80-87. Let's see here. April 10th is his birthday. I don't foresee him dropping 7 points and peaking. So I say that he'll end up at about 80, 84, 85, 83 maybe. He'll get a nice little jump. He'll make it to about 84, 85, and he'll be solid, especially if that movement can come up at least over 73. If he can get his movement to 75, he's a really decent, really good 2 or 3 guy, and he'll be the ace of this spot for now. Other guys that we'll be looking at, Chase Anderson. Never really been a fan of Chase Anderson in the previous moguls. However, in this mogul, he's actually really good. 78-88, sitting with an 86 control and an 81 power, and his movement is already at 76. So, as of right now, Chase Anderson looking really good. Zach McAllister, Zach Putnam. Who else do we have? We have Danny Salazar, 74-92. So Danny Salazar, power pitcher to the T, 85 power already, 77 control, which is really good when you have power like that. Now his movement is at 68, which seems like a bad thing, but when you have so much room to grow, movement is the fastest growing vital in this game. Now, 2017, I'm pretty sure hasn't changed at all because you know how Clay works. He never changes. So as of right now, he's actually not too bad in terms of his movement. It'll end up coming up. Danny Salazar can be one of those ace pitchers for a long time. Robbie Ross, Kyle Crockett. I don't really see too much else. But a lot of mid-tier guys that I would definitely say. But Cleveland just keep chugging along. You might have a bunch of picks. I don't know. You know, I didn't get anything from him, as I said. So as of right now, I see Minnesota easily taking the AL Central with, I guess, Chicago and Cleveland maybe fighting for a wild card spot. As I said earlier, Detroit could maybe sneak in, but honestly, looking at Chicago and Cleveland, they have more of a chance of sneaking in barely than Detroit. But honestly, I don't really see it happening too much. And my computer just went blue. Hold on. And now it's green. Son of a bitch. Hold. Ah, damn it. Give me a second. Aha. All right. For some reason, my monitor cord came unplugged all randomly. But after that, we're back. And I think that kind of sums up how my podcasts usually go. You know, some always messing up, whether it be my voice, whether it be some technical difficulties. I don't know. Anyways, let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and go with the AL West. So the AL West was kind of in a bit of flux last year because you had, oh my God. Oh my goodness. 1 second here. My internet becomes unplugged. Why? I don't know. So, all right, we're good. So we are back. So as I was saying, the AL West, the LA Angels GM didn't do too much. Oakland was the most active last year. Seattle second most active, and Texas didn't do too much either. So I guess we'll go ahead. We're going to save the best for last. So it's going to be between Oakland and Seattle. I don't know who to go with last. But we're going to go with Los Angeles first. Now, I had talked a little bit about Mike Trout at the during the last podcast in terms of guys to watch out for, prospect stars. He's the real deal sitting atop of that lineup. Now, as of right now, he's good enough to lead off. If I were him, I'd probably put him in AAA for a little bit, maybe like half the year, see if he'll get a jump. And if not, just bring him up, let him do his thing. Other guys he has, Alex Gordon, Dan Uggla, Kendrys Morales, Mark Trumbo, Mike Napoli, a lot of power hitters. Also Cole Calhoun, who isn't really a power hitter, but definitely has good power and very good contact, and also some speed to go along with it. Very, very good all-around player. Looking at his prospects, don't see too much besides C.J. Cron, who usually doesn't turn out to be shit in these files, but honestly, he looks like, already has above 80 contact, above 80 power, above 80 gap power, sitting at 75 overall, so not bad at all. Let's see who else. We got Gene Segura, we got Alexi Amarista, we have Ji-Man Choi, got Trey Mancini, I don't know what the fuck these guys' names are, Carlos Perez. So definitely some guys kind of sitting down there in the minors waiting to come up. Let's see who else we have. On the rotation side, so we still kind of had the same rotation as last year. I don't believe he signed anybody so didn't sign anybody or didn't trade for anybody from what I saw. So his pitching kind of sits the same as last year. Jared Weaver, 92 overall pitcher, easily the ace, one of the better pitchers in the file, sits at his ace spot. So everybody needs an ace if you want to compete. So also he has Irvin Santana, Scott Kazmir, and that's kind of where it drops off. Matt Schumacher, whatever you want to call him, looks to be actually really good for the most part. If he can get one more jump, it looks like he'll actually get one more jump. He'll be really solid. He'll be a really solid 3, maybe a 2. So he'll be able to kind of fill out that rotation. Now, in terms of his closer, Michael Kahn, he's an okay closer, not something that you would kind of tip your cap to and kind of always give that to. So in terms of his closer, looks like Brian Fuentes was his closer last year, but not too sure where they're going this year. Looks like they'll definitely be competing at least. Garrett Richards, 79-91. Definitely a jump away from jumping into that rotation, which is really good. He needs it. Steve Gelt, 78-88 reliever. Definitely needs one more jump. and he'll jump right in to a short relief spot, possibly the setup spot. Same with Jeremy Jeffries. Jeremy Jeffries is not quite ready, in my opinion, for MLB. One more jump, and he's definitely in there. So definitely make sure to put him in your AAA, bro, whoever you are. So Jordan Walden, also another reliever. Man, these are all some good names. That died. Jordan Walden, really good reliever. One more jump, and he's going to at least be in the bullpen for the most part for most of the year. Andrew Chafin, definitely say his one more jump could definitely do him good, but I would say he's at least a year and a half away, if you ask me. Mike Morin, another reliever, so he's kind of stacked with relievers at this point. Maybe flip one of those guys to get a starting pitcher, or maybe even flip them themselves and move them to a starting pitcher. Cam Bedrosian, I don't know why I'm even fucking up there. 67-87, not bad, pretty good, and that's kind of what we're looking at here. So in terms of Los Angeles, I'm not too sure where I'm standing with them. I'm going to go ahead and go to Texas. Now, Texas does not have a GM as of right now, from what I remember. Looks like it was Shanzo. I don't know. It could be Pan. Did Pan come in and take him? I don't know. Pan Dulce. You already know I'm Mexican as fuck. Anyways, Grady Sizemore sits at the top of the lineup. Ian Kinsler, Nelson Cruz, Chris Davis, Josh Hamilton, Jared Saltalamacchia, Mike Moustakas. He's got quite a good lineup. And honestly, that's a lineup that's going to compete for most of the year. And in terms of anyone else, he still has Justin Smoke, still sitting in his minors as of right now. But, I think one more jump, and he's definitely ready. As ready as he's going to get. That 95 power, 96 against righties is pretty ridiculous. And his fielding's really good, so plug him in at first base. 85 I, definitely going to give you some home run walk numbers. His contact's pretty low for the most part, 72. Not the lowest, definitely not like Adam Dunn low, but he's definitely not going to be hitting for average. Will be definitely hitting for those home runs. So, as of anyone else, let's see. I guess we're kind of looking at Chris McGinnis and Sean Halton, both first basemen. These guys have a plethora of one position. You guys need to start moving around. Get it going. Michael Reed, 64-87, a guy to look forward to in the next few years. Looks pretty nice. Wilmer Defoe, 66-87, second base. Looks like a really good prospect to come, but as of this year, definitely not going to be making an impact. Now over to the pitching side, Yu Darvish, Roy Oswalt, Rich Harden, Derek Holland, and I'm going to go ahead and guess that his fifth is going to be Matt Harrison. So doesn't look like he made anything happen this year. No, it doesn't look like it. It just looks like no trades, no signings of any sort. So, whatever floats your boat over there on that side. Darren O'Day, still the closer. Neftali Feliz, 84-92. Such a ridiculous reliever as it is right now. So, really, really good. Pedro Strop, Alexi Ogando, CJ Wilson. Actually, CJ Wilson will probably be the fifth starter. Probably, if it was me, but it's not me, obviously. Nick DePeche, one more jump, and maybe he'll crack the majors. Maybe he might need still a year and a half, honestly. If you ask me, he might still need a year and a half. Tommy, I don't know what the fuck his name is. Cannell? I don't know his damn name. Reliever, 77-90. Looks really good, lacking some control, but makes up in command and movement and the power. If it can reach 85, his control might not even fucking matter anyway. Noah Syndergaard, 73-91. Definitely has about a year and a half, if you ask me. He already looks good. 77 control, 78 command, 80 power with that 73 overall. So he's definitely a really, really good prospect. I actually got him third overall last year, so nice pickup. Martin Perez or Martin Perez, whatever you want to call him. I don't know. 71-88, another really, really good pitching prospect for them. Needs about a year and a half. So as of right now, if he could pick up, I would say if he could pick up one, maybe two starters to kind of close out that rotation and possibly, I mean, on the other side, I guess maybe get a third baseman for now to kind of set up for Mustaka's mid-year. Mustaka's not quite ready. I did not see Elvis Andrus as he's just sitting here. 74-84. Not looking all too potentially-ish, whatever you want to say. No, I'm just kidding. Not looking all too great in terms of what he looked like last year. Looks like he dropped quite a bit, but could still play really good shortstop. And if he has a big jump, I mean, he's a staple for years to come. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick Seattle. So sorry, Seattle, you are the weakest link. Just kidding. So looking at your team, you went ahead and you went pretty damn crazy in trying to trade for everybody, anybody, and everybody. So grabbing Justin Verlander, Giovanni Gallardo, Chris Sale, I mean, Andrew McCutchen, quite a bit of guys. I mean, Alex Avila. You went ahead and went pretty crazy. Still have Dustin Ackley, unless I believe Dustin was part of a trade. I'm not too sure. Don't believe he was. I don't know how the hell you got away with not trading Ackley. That's pretty crazy. All right, what a bastard. He made it. He made it through. Okay. So as of this point, Dustin Ackley's still looking to jump in at second base at some point this year. Could already do it, but I would give him at least one more jump. A little bit of time in AAA. Still has some okay prospects, some middle-of-the-line prospects sitting in his minors. So as of right now, Andrew McCutchen, Alex Rios, Billy Butler, Manny Ramirez, Mike Carb, Alex Avila, Casey Kochman, and Austin Jackson. So that's what we're looking at on that side. For the rotation side, we got Justin Verlander, Giovanni Gallardo, we got Doug Fister, Chad Billingsley, and I think he might go with Chris Sale as his fifth, but you know what? No, he also got Marco Estrada. So Marco Estrada will more than likely be his fifth, while Sale will sit in AAA for one more jump, which is super smart. Chris Sale looks like an absolute stud. 81-95, 84 control, 88 powers, command's already at 77. So, I mean, he's honestly, depending on his next jump, he's an ace for years to come, easily. And that's going to be packed in with Justin Verlander and Giovanni Gallardo and Chad Billingsley, who both have some room to grow as well. James Paxton, 77-89. Really good. One more jump. He's going to be jumping right in with the rotation. Let's see who else. Michael Pineda, 75-91. Really, really good. 82 control, 82 power. You can tell how he likes those control power guys over anything else, which is really smart if you ask me. Joe Kelly, 78-88. Really, really good. If you're looking at his endurance, once again, one of my pet peeves, 62 endurance. It's kind of like one of those things where you're like, what do you want to do with them? So, but still solid, still a good problem to have because, I mean, we're still looking at Carson Smith, 77-92, Medina, 76-88, Blake Bevan, Ruby De La Rosa, and Erasmo Ramirez. I mean, he also has Trevor Rosenthal, who I thought was a reliever, but I forgot he was a starting pitcher back in the day. So still has that guy at 77-93. So, I mean, still as of right now, he can make a ton of more moves. Not too sure what he's going to do next, but, you know, anything can happen. As I said, anything can happen. He made some big, big trades. And in terms of, let's see here, in his free agency, he went and picked up Manny Ramirez. So, you know, Manny Ramirez still can hit the ball. And maybe playing defense is kind of out of the question. So I would say he's probably your DH, but only going to be your DH for maybe a year, and maybe he'll die. I don't know. So as I mentioned earlier, the trades, trading off guys like Michael Wacha, Taijuan Walker, Tyler Skaggs, all those guys, pretty crazy to think. So Seattle definitely looking very good. So I saved Oakland for last because Oakland is really, really, I guess you could say, really active for the most part. Now, actually, I completely forgot that Bard, a.k.a. Allen, a.k.a. the GM of the Seattle Mariners, actually sent me his card. So I actually talked to him. What are your team's aspirations this year as well as expectations? He said, I'm going to win this ring. We're going to go full force and make an impact. I like it. I like it a lot. So what is the strongest part of your team? He said the strongest part of my team is the whole team. The rotation is looking good. The lineup is snazzy. The bullpen is getting there, but that will be worked on even more. The farm is also still very strong. I agree. I absolutely agree. Players to watch. Watch out for the debuts of the fresh blood, but also watch for the debut of Justin Verlander on opening day. Then following with Gallardo, then Sale, then Bills, and then Fister. So there it is. Sale's going straight to the third part of the rotation. So I should have read this before. I'm an idiot. Sorry. So breakout prospects to watch that may crack the MLB. Trevor Rosenthal and James Paxton. Talked about both of those guys. Top prospects to watch that are younger, higher potential guys. He said his whole team, man. That's pretty good. Final words. He said, I love you. Wow. I don't get that very often. Nobody loves me. Just kidding. I love you too, good sir. And he asked me what time I was doing the pod. I said, no, I'm just kidding. So, so that's kind of what we're looking at there in terms of his side. I don't believe I missed anybody there. So before we go into Oakland, he also sent me his. He said, what are your team's aspirations this year as well as expectations? He said, hopeful, best case scenario would be the wild card. So high expectations for the Athletics, of course, because why not? Oh, my God. I still got to get over this damn cough. So still definitely we'll go over his team as of right now. He's looking to at least push the wild card, which means he's basically almost done with his rebuild, which is not bad. So what is the strongest part of your team? Mainly the depth of young talent. There's plenty of guys with potential, just need to step up. I agree. Players to watch, Sonny Gray and Buster Posey. So we will definitely cover that right now. Breakout prospects that may crack the MLB, Scott Schlabler, I don't know, Scott Schlabler, definitely one we'll definitely look at. Top prospects to watch, Joe Panik, Nolan Arenado, and Dan Straley. Those are definitely guys that are a little bit further away. So, and any final words? He said it's a full team of young guys right on the verge of breaking out. Will be fun to see which guys fulfill their potential and if it's enough for Oakland to become a threat with its current roster. And he said add Max Muncy in with Scott Schebler. All right. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at his team as of right now. All right. Let me go ahead. All right. So the first person that stands out is Yoenis Cespedes, 85-91. He's a star center fielder. I don't think he had much progression last year, so this could be his last year of progression. Better hope he jumps, because if he doesn't, he's going to sit at 85. Excuse me. Oh, man, that came out of nowhere. So he was also talking, he talked about Sonny Gray and Buster Posey as guys to watch. Buster Posey, where the hell is Buster Posey? Oh, there he is. 77-92. I mean, easily a jump away from being in the MLB. Sitting at 24 years old, you could possibly put him in and just hope that he develops for the most part. Definitely the top prospect on the team. He also mentioned Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray sitting at that 75, 95. Really, 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 really good. I mean, honestly, if we're looking at it, he's definitely an ace for years to come, if you ask me. All right, sorry about that. So, and let's see who else we got. We talked about Max Muncy and Scott Schebler. I believe Schebler is okay. So Schebler being right there as a center fielder, 74-87. Actually got him for me in the Ben Sheets trade last year. I actually liked Schebler a lot, but at the time it was like, I think Ben Sheets is the guy that we need over Scott Schebler. And Schebler, I mean, when we're looking at him, 83 power to his 74 overall. So he's a power guy for sure. And if his contact can reach up to his overall, wherever that may land, he's going to be a really, really good player. So definitely a player to watch for. I absolutely agree. The other one he said was Max Muncy, current Dodger in real life as we move into 2018, but I won't go on about that. I digress. So I'm wondering why he's not a Dodger, guys. What's going on? Just kidding. Only kidding, obviously, with the Athletics in 2010. But 75-87, second baseman, really good power guy, really good eye, kind of lacking in contact, but I would definitely say good enough. Other guys we're looking at, Ryan Sweeney, Ryan Howard, Kurt Suzuki, Derek Barton, Josh Donaldson. So that's kind of like what you're looking at in terms of his lineup. Cliff Pennington as well. As he said, he's barely he barely thinks he'll make the wild card, but his young guys could definitely propel him into that wild card spot. Michael Taylor's sitting at an 81-90, so one more jump from him and he could be spectacular. As he was talking about Nolan Arenado, 69-95, really high potential, still has plenty of time until he makes it to the MLB. But as of right now, he's the top third base prospect in this class. I mean, in this file as it is. So let's see here. And also moving over to the pitching side, Gio Gonzalez, AJ Griffin, Tyson Ross, Sonny Gray, as we talked about, or Sonny Gray. I'm going to say Sonny, like Dasani. Trevor Cahill, that's going to be his rotation. I believe all those guys started last year, so they're going to go in with the second year ready to go. Andrew Bailey, the closer, Jerry Blevins, Henry Rodriguez, Brad Ziegler, Josh Outman, and Rich Hill are the guys that are going to be sitting in the bullpen. Not bad at all. Still has other guys like Nathan Eovaldi, Jake Arrieta. Arrieta's still sitting in there. Doesn't look too bad. He's already 25 though, so that's kind of a problem. Dan Straley, Ryan Dole, Adam Conley. That's kind of it in terms of prospects. So as of right now, my favorite to win the division. Oof. I'm gonna have to go with Allen's team. I think Allen put on a really good Seattle team towards the end. I think he's gonna actually surprise a lot of people, especially with the prospects he still has in his minor leagues. That means that he's gonna have even more ammunition to get even more guys, and it's gonna make me jealous watching all these guys go to other teams and not mine. No, but seriously. I'm going to say Seattle takes it with the Angels knocking on their door quite a bit. So Oakland, as he was saying, could possibly reach the wild card depending on the lower guys. Texas, it depends on if they get a damn GM. I could see Texas easily making the playoffs as well. So I would predict a 3-team race in the AL West. There's nobody that really sticks out as like this for sure person. Because, like I said, I think everybody is pretty competitive at this point because of the way everything's just kind of set up in that division. So it's going to be a dogfight from the first day to the very last day. I honestly still think that the wild card is going to come. Both of the wild cards are going to come out of the East, but at the same time, it could happen. You never know. So as of right now, fight as if you only had one spot and go from there, AL West. So jumping over to the National League, jumping into the National League, we have let's start off with the top here, AL East. So we'll go with Atlanta. So Atlanta, aka the GM, the nameless poet, I had talked to him also about his team. I asked him, what are your team's aspirations and other expectations? He said, I think third is realistic, with second a possibility. 81 wins is our goal, with trying to get to the 85 goal. Number one is starting to have our prospects force themselves into the MLB. Well, I wouldn't want them forcing themselves onto you there, TMP. Better watch out. Excuse me. So what is the strongest part of your team? He said, our resolve. Okay. Anyways, players to watch. He said, can Chipper lead his team in steals? Missed one by last year. Oh, God. I definitely got to look at that one. Breakout prospects that may crack the MLB. D. Gordon. Really good name. Speedster guy. We'll definitely check him out. Top prospects to watch. Younger, higher potential guys. He said Ramos, Beachy, and maybe Freeman by the end of the season. Awesome. Final words. He said other things to add. He didn't add anything else. So, yeah, cool. So let's go ahead and take a look at his team here. Melky Cabrera, Connor Jackson, Wilson Betemit, Robinson Cano, Richardson, Chipper Jones, Blake DeWitt, A.J. Ellis, D. Gordon is not going to be in there. So, excuse me. So he was definitely talking about players to watch and his breakout prospects. I mean, honestly, Jason Hayward has to be in there. 78-95 at 21 years old. Maybe he just thought it was guys that we were all overlooking. I don't know. But that's definitely one guy to look for. Freddie Freeman, as he was talking about, might touch the MLB at the end of the year. He's correct. 72-90. Don't really see him actually making it. So as of right now, I don't see him making the MLB this year. Maybe on a September call-up. We'll see what happens. But Robinson Cano was the big acquisition this year. He's the top second baseman in the file. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And, excuse me, when you look at it, if you were to pair him with a guy like D. Gordon, like first and second, 1 and 2 at the top of the lineup, it's pretty dirty. You got a guy getting on base, and you got another guy stealing bases and hitting home runs. Well, that's kind of like kind of mixed up into one. Still have Chipper Jones. Could possibly get those steals. I still can't believe how many steals did he have last year. 15 stolen bases by the 38-year-old wonder Chipper Jones. Jesus. What are you doing over there, TMP? God damn it. Let's see. Also, one of the guys he talked about was Ramos. Wilson Ramos, his catcher. Definitely a really, really good guy to look out for. 85 contact, 85 power to that 80 overall. Going to have at least one more jump if you ask me. I think that's what we're looking at. Jake Lamb could actually jump into the MLB this year, sitting at 78-89. He's actually really good. So he'll be a third base. He'll be their future third baseman and more than likely end up moving Chipper to like DH or something. I don't know. Let's see who else. Tommy LaStella, Derek Dietrich, Hunter Renfroe, Ramon Flores. So a lot of young guys that are still waiting to come up. In terms of his rotation side, CC Sabathia, the other big acquisition from New York, 93 overall, is going to be the ace of this place. Javier Vasquez, he was also a type B in free agency this year. So second rounder, which is actually a number one, going to the New York Yankees. So nice job, Yankees. Got yourselves a second round pick. Tommy Hanson, definitely really, for the most part, really good. Brian Bannister and Brandon Beachy. Beachy, he was talking about. I could definitely see Beachy being pretty good this year. Nothing spectacular unless he has a nice jump. Craig Kimbrell, I mean, he's a stud closer for years. Has at least one more jump to become that stud closer. But as of right now, he could go in and close if he wanted to. So I would definitely say he would do that. Brian Wilson signed off free agency to be that setup guy. Or it could be, I would definitely say it's a setup guy this year. So nice job. Also, another guy he got was Roenis Elias from Seattle, which is a pretty cool prospect for the most part. One more jump, he's in the rotation for sure. Mike Minor, one more jump, and he's gonna barely touch, if you ask me. Not too sure. Excuse me. Luis Avalon. Yeah, I would say one more jump and he's in. And he's going to jump right into that bullpen. Julio Teheran, one more jump. It could definitely make that rotation. Still really young, 20 years old. Not bad. Alex Wood, 77-94. Still one more jump and he's in. Randall Delgado, one more jump. I would say he's got about a year and a half. So the rest of these guys, I would say about a year and a half for the rest of them. Trevor May, Chasen Shreve, Roydis Vizcaíno, Vince Velasquez. So guys like that. So still really good team with a lot of youngsters for years to come. So nice job there. So let's see here. We'll go with Washington. So I don't believe Washington sent me anything because Washington is not a thing. Yeah, they didn't send me anything. So I'll just kind of quickly go through them since there's not really too much going on. Danny Espinoza, Josh Willingham, Jesus Flores, Adam Dunn, Trevor Plouffe. And on the pitching side, a lot of potential on the pitching side. So Steven Strasburg, 82.95. Still got Drew Storen, 81.93. You got guys like Patrick Corbin, 78.92. Nate Carnes, Brad Peacock, Blake Trinan, I don't know what the fuck his name is. Yordano Ventura, who was, he was just signed. Actually, no, take that back. Ventura was one of their first picks in the contraction draft last year, sitting at 72.95. Also, Felipe Rivero, 74.93 reliever. So a lot of good in terms of pitching on that side. In terms of hitting, not too much going on. Brandon Drury, these are prospects, by the way, sorry. Chesler Cuthbert, Spencer Kieboom, Jacoby Jones, and Michael Taylor. No, but seriously, Anthony Rendon, still another guy sitting down there. So he still has a lot of young guys still coming up. Nothing really of note on that side. Not too sure why not, but whatever. So the next one up we're going to go after is Philadelphia. So Philadelphia, the GM for them is Philly Proud. We talked to him as well. Said, what are your team's aspirations, hopeful this year, as well as expectations? He said, we hope to be playing meaningful games in September, just like last year, which came down to the last game of the regular season. I predict that we win the division with the Mets, Braves, Marlins, and Nationals trailing us respectively. So there you go, Epic. I know you're listening. He thinks that your Mets are going to be second. So suck it. No, but seriously, what is the strongest part of our team? Our rotation is no doubt our strongest asset. And I would definitely agree. The rotation is really nice. Players to watch. His very young outfield. Lorenzo Cain, Justin Upton, and Dominic Brown, as well as the headliners to our rotation, for sure. Breakout prospects, Tim FedEx, Tommy Joseph, Jared Parker, Jose Fernandez, rest in peace, John Gray, and top prospects to watch, younger, higher potential guys, Paco Rodriguez. Any final words? He said nothing. Cool. So, let's see here. So looking at his guys as of right now, his lineup didn't really change much from last year. I believe Curtis Granderson. I believe there was something about that, about Curtis Granderson. I'm not too sure if he's still with Philadelphia, but could be wrong. Not sure. Let me double check here. Yeah, I don't really see anything. So as of right now, I'm just going to say he's on there. So Lance Berkman, Chase Utley, Jason Worth, Corey Hart, and Ben Francisco, Jimmy Rollins. So he was definitely talking about guys like Justin Upton, 81, 86, one more jump, and he's going to be spectacular. Other guys such as, let's see here, Dominic Brown, one more jump is going to be absolutely spectacular, especially in Philadelphia, hitting all those home runs. Can you give me 1 second? All right, sorry about that, fellas. Fellies. Fellas and fellies, whatever you want to call me. But I actually had somebody come over real quick, and I told them to leave. So we're going to keep getting this cracking right now, as I was talking about. Dominic Brown, really, really nice. Also, we have Wilson Contreras kind of sitting back there. Wasn't a player to watch, but whatever. I'm watching him if I want to. So also another guy we were also looking at was Lorenzo Cain, 77-90. Honestly, Lorenzo Cain is actually really, really good in this file. Obviously going to lack some power in the righty side, but he's definitely a really good leadoff guy. And if he ends up developing, he's going to be one of the top center fielders in this file, if you ask me. So as he was saying, Lorenzo Cain, Justin Upton, Dominic Brown, definitely an outfield to watch. And he was talking about headliners and whatnot. They're going to be definitely some cornerstones for this Philadelphia offense. So jumping over to the pitching side is where it gets pretty exciting. Tim Lincecum, Cole Hamels, Matt Cain, Jay Happ, and Eric Stoltz. So kind of died out at the end there. But as it remains, Tim Lincecum as the ace of Philadelphia, which is actually kind of funny because the last time I played MLB The Show, Tim Lincecum was the ace of the Phillies, who I was the third baseman for. So things kind of like work out, as they kind of go along. Just wanted to say, let's see here. Epic, we actually have a message from Epic, one of the commissioners of MLR. He said, longtime fan, first time typer here. Just wanted to say that Granderson is a red. Thanks, man. Well, thank you very much, Frankie. That is absolutely awesome. So I don't have to worry about Granderson being on Philly. I knew there was something kind of awkward about that. So, as I said, Tim Lincecum, Cole Hamels, and Matt Cain, a really, really, really good 1-2-3. Cole Hamels and Matt Cain got them to the playoffs last year. Tim Lincecum, will he be the guy to put them over? Not too sure. We'll see what happens. Also, other guys to kind of look out for, not really seeing too much in terms of bullpen as of this year, but in terms of potential bullpen, we have Kenley Jansen, 76-91. Is going to be an extremely good closer. I do regret trading him, especially in the trade for Roy Halladay, and then Roy Halladay did what he did. But obviously, that's going to come with the territory of Mogul. Excuse me. Other guys like Josh Lindblom, Jared Parker. So another guy, Jared Parker, 77-90. One more jump. He's going to jump himself right into the rotation, and he'll more than likely be the 4, maybe the 5 guy, because Jay Happ is still not bad. So I'm not too sure what he's doing in terms of his relief. Maybe he's going with a bunch of these young guys. Maybe he's not. I don't know. So we'll have to definitely wait and see what he actually does in terms of that. So very good team this year. That starting rotation looks absolutely nasty. So we'll see what happens. So best for last, as I was saying, New York Mets. We got Troy Tulo, Jose Reyes, David Wright, Miguel Cabrera, Brad Hopp, Brian McCann, and other guys like Carlos Beltran, David DeJesus, let's see here, Alberto Caspo, Shane Victorino, other guys that are going to sit kind of on the bench and maybe play a few times. Excuse me. Oh, man, that kind of came out of nowhere. So So this is definitely a really good offensive lineup. We talked about it in the previous podcast, how getting Brad Hopp, and it's kind of funny because if you look at the file, Brad Hopp's the best right fielder in this file. So he did actually give up his first rounder for Brad Hopp. So Brad Hopp, that first rounder going to San Francisco. So nice job, San Fran. You got yourself a first rounder like you wanted. So the biggest acquisition, though, was obviously Miguel Cabrera. Miguel Cabrera, the best player in this file, bar none. 97 contact, 95 power. He actually jumped over the offseason. Fuck you, Epic. So he's going to be sitting in the middle of that lineup, and it's going to be absolutely dirty because Brad Hopp is going to be either before or behind him. I don't know. Whichever way he likes it. So Robbie Grossman, also another guy to look out for this year, could possibly reach. So let me go ahead and I almost forgot to read his damn card. So let's see here. Let me see. Where the hell did he start? He wrote a bunch of random shit. Let's see. The Mets are here to compete and go for back-to-back NL East titles. After last year's dud in the playoffs, we re-signed our players, traded for Miggy, as I mentioned, and signed some of the top free agents, as I mentioned, Brad Hopp, to go with that team that is already young and players in the minors. We will be competing for the near future. Prediction, NL East title and 100-plus wins. So he didn't quite reach the 100-plus win total last year. I believe I was the only one that did it. I believe so. I don't know. But that's a really good prediction, and honestly, one that I would have to agree with. He also, another thing he said he said that he was up and down. We have talent no matter where you look. So basically talking about the strongest part of his team. He said up and down the talent no matter where you look. However, our offense has continued to get better, and we feel Hopp and Miggy coming in with an already dominant pitching staff that our offense will keep us in almost every game. So breakout players that were to watch this year, Jacob deGrom. Also, K-Rod. Can he get 50 saves again? That's a really good point because K-Rod was huge in that success last year. Can he get that 50 saves again? We'll have to see. So deGrom has been announced as the number 4 starter for the Mets going into 2011 with a 3.03 ERA in AAA last year and a 2.59 ERA in 5 spring training games. We believe deGrom is ready to dominate at the MLB level. So we'll definitely have to wait and see. Rumors were that Bumgarner and deGrom would be the lock for 4 and 5 spots. However, Bumgarner, who is only 21, we feel needed some more time to develop at the AAA level. Got it. So, in terms of his final words, there are actually some announcements that I'll do a little bit later. So, we talked about the offensive side. Now, he wasn't lying when he was talking about his rotation being pretty sick. So, Jake Peavy, Johan Santana, Josh Johnson, Jacob deGrom, and Johnny Cueto. I mean, if you're looking at these guys, 91 overall, 92 overall, 90 overall, 84, 96, and an 85. An absolutely killer rotation. So if we're talking about the complete team in this division, it's easily the Mets. Nothing against you, Philly Proud. I know you're Philly Proud, but easily the most complete team in this division. Also, as he was talking about, Madison Bumgarner, 83-96, one more jump, and this guy's going to be ace-worthy at that point. Other guys that he has, I'm not going to say his damn name because I don't know what the hell his name is. We also have Yuris Familia. Let's see here, Hansel Robles and Steven Matz. So definitely not too bad. Other guys, I don't really see too much. We already talked about it. Gerardo Parra. Another guy that's going to be in that outfield. So my prediction for the NL East, is that the Mets are easily going to be number 1. Sorry to say, Philadelphia, unless you fill out that rotation and the end of that, unless you fill out that bullpen in the end of that rotation, I think New York is the more complete team here. So moving on to the Central, we have the Cubs, who did not send in anything. So we'll kind of go through them here real quick. Not too much kind of went on. I know they were really quiet during the offseason, had some stuff to do. Chris Coughlin, Yanel Escobar, Aramis Ramirez, Giovanni Soto, Derek Lee, Troy Glau still in there, still killing it. Keisuke Fukudomi, still motherfucker still in there. Brian LaHare. So not too much happening on that side. They still do have Aaron Judge. Oh, wow. And Aaron Judge and Salvador Perez still sitting in the wings. John Singleton as well. Chris Bryant still down there, so a pretty good future for the most part. On the pitching side, their ace, Carlos Zambrano, and then it kind of drops off to Gavin Floyd, Randy Wells, Mark Burrell, and Ted Lilly. Hudson Street and Carlos Marmol are still the relievers here on that side. And in terms of their prospects, not seeing too much. Kyle Hendricks, 73-90, might be the only guy to really look forward to. So not doing too much there. Need to make some trades. Need to make some moves. And then you can go from there. So Pittsburgh, don't believe Pittsburgh sent me anything. No, they didn't. So we'll go through them as well. They traded away Andrew McCutchen. They definitely landed some prospects for sure. And so it doesn't look like they're going to be doing any type of competing this year. Dallas Keuchel sitting as their top prospect, 78-93. Really good vitals, if you ask me. So I would definitely say he's going to be, at 23 years old, he's going to have two really good jumps the next 2 years in order to make it. And Garrett Cole, 77-95. He's an absolute stud. So definitely a future ace for years to come. So definitely nice job for him. Yimi Garcia, one of my personal favorites and actually a former Dodger that I actually went from reliever to starter. 74-91, Really, really good. So a couple guys to look out for this year on the Pittsburgh side. So Toronto did send me some stuff. I asked him, what is his aspirations and as well as expectations? He said this team's aspirations are a mix between hopeful and contender. We were supposed to be rebuilder, but made the playoffs last year, and the team's only gotten better. But saying that, it's happened to me before where I made the playoffs one year, gotten better, and tanked the next year. So let's hope that doesn't happen. I predict that we will win the division, but it will be a close race, and it might not turn out how I want to. I think we will win 93 games. So that's could definitely happen. What is the strongest part of your team? The batting side. I don't really have a rotation, and my bullpen is a bunch of young studs who might crash, who might burn. So anything could really happen at that point as well. So players to watch, Adam Lynn, fresh off the NL Triple Crown. Will he do it again? I don't know. He's actually one of the best players in this file, believe it or not. And he had a spectacular year last year. We'll definitely go over that. Breakout prospects that may crack the MLB. His bullpen, 4 of them have never pitched in the majors before, and this might be a make or break season. Might make or break my season, But they are all wicked talented with some nice vitals. So we'll definitely go over that wicked 4 as we go along. Top prospects to watch, Marcus Stroman and Sean Mania will be the 2 big pieces for the future. Let's see here. So watch what they do with the ball this year. Any final words? He said, I knocked the Mets out of the playoffs despite winning many less games and lost to some Dodgers curse whoever runs them. Curse whoever runs them. Sorry about that. So obviously you hear a lot of cursing towards me. I don't know what I did besides be really good. So screw you all. No, but seriously, let's go ahead and look at their team. They're a really big pickup for them last year. Michael Bourne. Now, Michael Bourne came in as a free agent, but he still ended up batting a 300, 56 stolen bases, still had a couple home runs, 141 hits, seven triples, 25 doubles. His OPS was a 773 regardless of having that 3 home runs. So That was actually one of my favorite pickups for him last year. Let's see here. Adam Lynn, we talked about, had a 316 average, 963 OPS, 36 home runs, 127 RBIs, and 191 hits, almost hitting that 200 hits range. So really good for Adam Lynn. That's the middle of that lineup, including Aaron Hill, Edwin Encarnacion, Ian Stewart, Vernon Wells, Stephen Drew. So really, really, really good. If you ask me, I think, looking at it, you know what? I'll save it for the end. So he also has Charlie Blackmon, another guy to look out for. That's going to make his transition into the MLB this year in the outfield. Brett Lowry, his second base infielder type of guy, could play second or third. 75-86, might touch the MLB this year. Not too sure. Not too sure if he may even need him with Aaron Hill and Ian Stewart at the second and third base spots. So let's see. So on the pitching side, see, this was another thing from last year where I talked about he lacked in pitching. Rocky Romero, Ian Kennedy, John Lackey, Sean Hill, Kyle Kendrick, Brandon Morrow. So, excuse me. So when it comes down to it, it's you. If I were you, I would really be focusing on trying to make some moves and getting some starting pitching, man. Like, you really definitely need it, if you ask me. Now, he was talking about his rotation, his bullpen. So he has 4 bullpen guys, with Sergio Romo heading the top of that, making that 5. So Sergio Romo had a pretty decent year last year, only 23 saves, but honestly, he had 41 saves between the Giants and Toronto. He had a really good year now that I'm looking at the full stat line. So he's going to be their closer. So from the 4 that I'm looking at, I'm going to guess it's Aaron Loop. Let's see who else. Danny Farquhar. I don't know what the hell his name is. Let's see who else. It's not completely showing up on my side. So I'm not too sure the 4 he's exactly talking about. He could be talking about Chaz Rowe and Sam Dyson, who are still really good. Kendall Graveman and Henderson Alvarez, 2 starting pitchers who will probably not crack the MLB this year, but they'll at least be maybe September call-ups towards the end, but I really don't see them making it. So Marcus Stroman, 60 overall, 95 peak, super far away, but has an absolute dynamite ceiling. Excuse me. So that's what we're looking at on that side. Toronto, nice team. Work on that rotation big time. So last but not least, Cincinnati. So the Reds didn't really make too much of a splash last year, but they came into free agency and they signed a bunch of people and they made kind of a splash, if you ask me. So talking to them, asking them what their aspirations were, he said the Reds are hopeful to have a winning record in a wild card spot. This is the dress rehearsal year for being seriously competitive in 2012. So that's even better. So let's see what you got this year, Riles. So the strongest part of his team, he says, is the deep outfield, mostly acquired through free agency. Performance will determine who stays beyond their 1-year contracts. So he did put out quite a bit of outfield contract feelers, and no one else signed him except him. So he has a nice little, I guess, backup of outfielders kind of sitting out there. We'll go over that as well. Players to watch, Joey Votto. Now that he peaked during the offseason, can he mirror the hitting dominance of his real-life self? So going from 2010 to 2018, I'm almost positive that Votto this year has had a terrible start and a terrible year. So if you want him to be his real-life self, well, then you're fucked. No, but seriously, I understand what you're saying, and it could definitely happen. We'll definitely see what happens. Prospects expected to make it to the MLB. Aroldis Chapman is about to be called up. He won't be there for opening day, but he should be ready as soon as the season moves on. Prospects to watch. Didi Gregorius is working to fill the needed shortstop position. We'll be excited to see him during the September call-ups. Raisel Iglesias should be fun to watch on the pitching side as well. Be prepared to see, in the final words, be prepared to see Cincinnati run a 6 to 8 person outfield. A lot of moves between the starting lineup, the bench, and minors are expected. Thank goodness for no waiver wire. So thanks a lot for that. So kind of looking at it, he wasn't lying when he said that he signed a bunch of outfielders. He went out and got Nick Swisher, Nate McLeod, David Murphy, Chris Young, and I believe he had someone else, but I'm going to go ahead. But on top of that, he also already has guys like Jason Bay, Drew Stubbs, Matt Den Decker, and Jay Bruce. So, I mean, quite a bit of guys. So you do have 4 positions to fill because you do still have that DH. So still really nice. That 92 overall man, Joey Votto, is going to be the key piece to see where they go this year. Joey Votto was really good last year for the most part. 280 average, 21 home runs, with his OPS being an 822. Granted, he was only, I believe, an 86 overall last year. So it's just going to definitely come down to seeing if he can at least be protected by somebody in this lineup and to see what he can do going forward. Now, he talked about, let's see, who else? Aroldis Chapman. So we'll go over on that side in a second. Devin Mesoraco, Tucker Barnhart, guys like Nick Castellanos, Yadiel Rivera. So definitely has quite a bit of prospects still coming up. Guys that might make it is Devin Mesoraco, if you ask me, the catcher. And he's going to definitely need that catcher coming up. And also Didi Gregorius, who was talking about, 77-91. So I would definitely say he's actually really good. So let's see. Now, going to the Major League pitching side, I'm not too excited here on this side, but Homer Bailey, Edison Volquez, Mike Leake, Edwin Jackson was a free agent signing. Ryan Cook is actually a reliever, so never mind. So depending on how he fills out that rotation, we're going to see what happens. The bullpen looks not too bad. Like I said, throw in Aroldis Chapman and Ryan Cook, and he'll definitely be pretty good for the most part. Now, he said Raisel Iglesias, definitely a guy to watch out for, 75-90, really good vitals for the most part. So it's really going to come down to, is he that 43 endurance? Is he going to be put down to be a strict reliever? Is he going to be pulled up to be a starting pitcher? I don't know. Maybe he'll just leave him there. We'll see what happens. So I believe that was everybody from that side. Yeah. So in terms of the NL Central, I am going to have to say that Toronto's going to win the division. Cincinnati's is going to scratch and claw their way, and I would say the odds of them taking the division is at least 3-1. Honestly, like that's what I'm looking at in terms of between him and Toronto. I feel like there's a 40% chance that Cincinnati could take the division, but I want to say Toronto is where you want to go with this one. So heading to the NL West, I keep wanting to say AL for some damn reason. So St. Louis is, if you didn't know, St. Louis, because I know there's a person in here that doesn't really know our league too well. What's up, Fred? So St. Louis actually was sitting in the Central, but got moved down to the West last year due to some detractions and some movement. Excuse me. And also Toronto as well, the Blue Jays. Wait, did I even go over the Blue Jays? I did go over the Blue Jays. Sorry. So, yeah. So, Blue Jays did get moved, obviously, over to the NL Central. So, we'll start with the St. Louis Cardinals. So, I did talk to the GM, Jeff Steelflex. So, awesome name. What are your team's aspirations as well as expectations? He said, looking to compete, not expecting to be a top-tier team, but have the pieces to trade to address holes and expect to stay in the wild card hunt throughout the season. What is the strongest part of your team? While the rotation itself isn't great, I'd say my 1-2 punch of Felix Bueno is worth watching. I agree. Players to watch: Felix Hernandez, Colby Rasmus, Matt Holliday, and Albert Pujols. Those are definitely some names to watch. I would absolutely agree. Breakout prospects that may crack the MLB. Nothing crazy. May see guys like Tommy Pham, Matt Carpenter up soon. Most of our guys are still probably a season out from being contributors, but that's always subject to change based on development. I agree. Top prospects to watch. So the higher, younger potential guys farther out. Got some exciting young arms coming up. Shelby Miller, Carlos Martinez could be up in the next year or two. Notable bats to keep an eye on would be Ben Gamel and Randall Grichuk. Cool. So final words. He said, after a pretty quiet, uneventful first season, the Cardinals are ready to step up their game and make a big splash in the league. The GM up to this point has been a total scrub, which was actually him, but we've made him whip himself into shape, and we're hopeful he can do some good for the team this year and beyond. Also, does anybody know who the Braves GM is? That's actually funny because it's TMP. So the nameless poet is the Braves GM. So you'll hear this at a later time because it doesn't look like you're in here right now, so that's cool. So, yeah. So looking at the lineup, it's actually not bad. You're looking at Carlos Gonzalez, Felipe Lopez, Matt Holliday, Albert Pujols, Seth Smith, David Freese, Yadier Molina, Colby Rasmus. Still got John Jay, Daniel Descalso just kind of sitting there. So that's still a really good lineup, and I think he wasn't tripping when he said that his bats are the top spot. I mean, you got Cargo, Matt Holliday, and Albert Pujols sitting in the middle of that lineup. Woo, man, that's gonna be really, really nice. So we're gonna see how he fares against me this year, and I'm not just saying that because it's me, but I mean I was the only team to get 100 wins last year. And I know St. Louis put up a fight pretty early on, but they kind of fell flat during the middle of the year. So let's see if he has the stamina to make it all the way through. Now, he did talk about, let's see, who was it? Randall Grichuk, 72-89. Looks like he's going to be a power pitcher. God damn it. Power hitter with really good speed. His eye is lacking quite a bit. That may hurt him a lot, but honestly, if his power and his power and his speed could possibly overcome that, we'll have to wait and see. His defense is actually not too bad at all. He did talk about Ben Gamel, 66-87, a right fielder. That's kind of like in the later portion of his season. And Colton Wong, still another guy that's a couple years out. So Colby Rasmus was another guy he talked about. Big power hitter. Still has pretty good contact for the most part. One more jump, and he's an absolute stud, if you ask me. So jumping over to the pitching side, King Hernandez, Felix Hernandez, 95-96. I mean, the dude still has a damn peak point, but it looks like he'll die here. Not die, but looks like he'll peak here on April 8th in a couple days. So we're going to go from there. As I said, the ace, probably the best pitcher in this file. His number 2 is Adam Wainwright. Wainwright's still really good, and he's actually had a really good last year as well. Ricky Nolasco looking to be the third starter, and goes from that to kind of obscurity. So kind of seeing, what happens. Tyler Lyons, 79-89, ready to crack the bullpen this year for sure. And he was also talking about Shelby Miller, 70-90. 70 overall, 90 peak, really, really good. Vitals, everything over 70. So, hey, man, as you said, a year or so, he's definitely going to be a force to reckon with. Carlos Martinez, same thing, 71-91. If I were you, I would make sure that his usage gets put to starting pitcher so you don't miss out on that endurance. You don't want that endurance sitting at 51 for the rest of his career. So really, really solid. You might need to shore up that bullpen with an actual closer. Doesn't look like you have an established closer, but that's just for me. So we'll move on over to San Francisco. So the Giants, I don't believe he sent me anything. No, he didn't. Okay, so the Giants had a lot of movement this year in terms of let's see here. Had a lot of movement in terms of trades, got rid of a lot of guys, and traded for a lot of guys for the most part. As I said, went and traded Tim Lincecum, got Jock Peterson, Joe Blanton, Jonathan Pettibone, and also had a couple picks as well. So also signed John Maine in free agency. Nothing too big, just kind of trying to fill out that as it is. Pablo Sandoval, 84-88. Looks to have one more jump in him. Going to be really, really good. Chris Carter, 84-86. Looks to be really, really good in terms of power, but that's really going to be it. Might have to play DH the rest of his career. Now, let's see here. He didn't send me anything that I see. Yeah, I don't see anything that he had actually sent me. So, but it's all good. As I said, a lot of his prospects are 2 years out, to be honest, 2 to 3 years out. So he's not going to be competing this year unless he starts off hot and he just goes all in. His major leaguer, his starting rotation: Hiroki Kuroda, Barry Zito, John Maine, Joe Blanton, and Yusumiro Petit probably is the number 5. So, as I said, a lot of his prospects, Matt Harvey is probably his top prospect as of right now, 77-94. Really good vitals, if you ask me. Everything over 77 except for his movement. And you know how that movement likes to jump. So, as I said, a lot of his guys are just really far, far away as of right now. So, let's see here. San Francisco, I'm going to say you are the number 1 pick this year. You're going to have the worst record. I'm not saying that in a bad way because there's a lot of good teams out there, and that number 1 pick is always valuable. So, we're going to go with San Diego here. San Diego actually didn't send me anything that I remember. No. Okay, so I read it off everything. All right, so, oh, man. So the Padres sit in the middle of the lineup with Adrian Gonzalez at 91-94 and Yasmani Grandal 84-89. So 2 big cornerstones to kind of work off of in that side. They also have Anthony Rizzo, 79-88. Could come up and be either left field or DH. You also have Jed Giorgio. Could play really anywhere in the infield. Still really good. He also has Mike Stanton or Giancarlo Stanton, whatever you want to call him. Doesn't look like he's actually progressing as well as a lot of people thought he would, but we'll have to actually see what ends up happening. If he does get a big jump this year, that's going to be really big for them because he can definitely be one of those guys that you look at and just say, damn, that's a player right there. That's a power hitter. So other guys to look out for, Domingo Santana, Alex Dickerson, Reimer Liriano, those are later guys. So definitely still in rebuild mode for the most part. Now on the pitching side, not too much. John Garland, Chris Young, Matt Latos. Let's see here, Jesse Hahn. So Matt Latos and Jared Kozar. Also, holy shit, what is this guy's name? Odrasamer Despain, Kevin Quackenbush, Brad Boxberger, Anthony Bass, Chris Davinsky. So a lot of honestly, he has a lot of starting pitching potential, but it's a lot, down the line type of stuff. So that's what we have in terms of that. Now, last but not least, I just wanted to save myself for the end, I guess, because I just didn't want to be too biased. So on our team, we went and picked up quite a few guys in terms of how we were going to get our team going this year. So Alex Rodriguez was the big pickup. Best third baseman in the file, only downside, he's 35. But if he can put on the performance he did last year, he's going to be an absolute stud in this lineup. We're boasting Hanley Ramirez, Matt Kemp, Prince Fielder, Andre Ethier, Martin Prado, Russell Wilson. Fucking Russell Wilson. Don't ever hear me say that again. I fucking hate that guy. Russell Martin. And in terms of our left field, we're not too sure yet. Probably going to go with Elian Herrera. He did pretty well in the outfield last year. And obviously Alex Rodriguez, as I mentioned. Not really too much in terms of prospects because we're going all in. Now onto the pitching side, we got Ben Sheets, 92 overall, Max Scherzer, 91-96. Definitely hoping that one jump happens because if he has that one jump, he's a stud. If he doesn't, he's like a second, third. But we're looking really at that A spot for years to come with Max Scherzer. So also have Cliff Lee, Eric Bedard, Anibal Sanchez, Clayton Kershaw. I actually have a plethora of pitchers. I'm actually thinking that Anibal Sanchez is going to sit long relief. Now, my closer is Jonathan Broxton, who's only an 85, but had a spectacular year last year. 41 saves with a 1.68 ERA. If he does that again this year, it's going to be no problem. Ryan Madsen, Antonio Bastardo, Hung-Chi Kuo, Javi Guerra. Those are the guys that are going to be sitting in my bullpen. Really, really good. The bullpen was lights out last year. That was definitely part of our success. And in terms of any prospects, no, we don't have any prospects. So yeah, that's what we're looking at as of right now. So with that being said, that's the end of the preview there. Man, it's quite a preview. It's actually coming up to 2 hours. I didn't think I was going to be doing a 2-hour podcast. Just kidding. I actually knew I was. So let's go ahead and make an announcement. So from Epic, it was actually a part of his player card from what I asked him from earlier. His final words. Although this is the only info you will get, I want to announce what is coming in the near future for MLR. Ooh. So firstly, it's going to be international free agency like you've never seen before. So I'm absolutely excited for that because international free agency always adds some unique dynamics, some unique players, super awesome when they're done correctly. Talent distribution off. That means these programs are back in. Secondly, winter ball. Need to pick me up for one of your young studs? This is your spot. Just be careful the injury bug doesn't hit them. So winter ball. So for those of you who don't know what winter ball is kind of like what it is in real life, but instead in our mogul world, you're kind of gambling on one of your younger talents to either jump up a couple overalls, a couple peak points. Maybe he's only doing defensive. He hasn't said exactly what it is, but that's kind of how it is. You pick a number, you pick a number, you blah, blah, blah. You see where it is, see how it holds on, or I don't remember exactly. He will definitely go over that as we go along. So next up, the reward system. Everyone likes rewards, right? Be rewarded for things like activity and helping out around the Discord. So you already know I'm getting a lot of reward points because I'm doing podcasts. No, but seriously, reward system is going to be super cool. Can't wait. We're going to see how it's going to work out too. And lastly, set rules. And last but not least, in the week or so, we will have full rules that will span across the future years of the league. So thankfully, that will definitely more than likely include free agency, as we were told that free agency rules might actually end up, dying. No, they might actually end up changing, and we're not too sure. So I know some people have shied away from trading. I know some people are just going trade crazy. So, at the end of the day, we will get those set rules, and that's how it will be. So it's going to be a super, super fun year as we wind down here at the Execution Radio podcast. So as I said, it's going to be another great year. And I forgot to mention in the NL West, I would definitely say that I'm going to take it again this year because once again, I am not taking no shit, taking no shorts and no losses. That's how it's going to be, and that's just how it's going to be. So, Epic, Frankie, New York Mets, Philadelphia, Toronto, whoever thinks they're competing, just know that you're not going to compete as hard as me because we are coming for the ring again. All right. So since that promo is over, it's going to be pretty fun. I guess I would go over projected wins and losses, but honestly, it just looks meh. Looks like Dodgers, Mets, 101, 103 in terms of wins, and no one else in the American League has 100 wins. That's what it says here. So that's why I'm not going over it. So, yeah, I'm not really too sure what else to say. It's been an absolutely fun off season, to be honest. Like, there was a lot of stuff going on. I do kind of want to go over a little joke of the day. Oh, man. So, let me see if I can pull this back up here. So, let's see. It was actually involving me, the Nameless Poet, and Philly Proud. So, let me see if I can pull it up here again. I might have passed it. I know we're running down on time. And I don't quite see it. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it anymore. But if I find it, I will definitely... Oh, okay, I do see it. So I was talking to TMP, and he asked me, what did I think of his idea? I asked him which one. But I said, I'll check back in a bit. I'm watching a stream right now. He said, what are you watching? I didn't want to tell him what I was watching because, it wasn't anything like that. But he did take it like that. He said, porn. I was like, yeah, sure, okay. He said, nothing wrong with that. My life. Oh, man. He said, nothing wrong with that. My life, damn it, I can't even say it right. My wife loves watching it while we, and I'm like, and in my head, I actually put this. I'm actually not, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how to respond to that. And he responded saying that he's one lucky son of a course. So that's when Philly Proud comes in and he says, you're lucky because you can't get your wife off by yourself. Oh my God. That killed me. That absolutely killed me. So that's what we're going to wrap it up with, guys. So make sure to wrap it up. Keep it flat. Find your truth. Have a great season and have a great day.
I swerve, drunk as I sit on the curb. Get up to purchase some herbs to ease my nerves while a nigga got fucked to serve. Heard about thugs and hustlers, but I never knew nothing like us. Before we drugging them off and dump it, suck these thuggish, ruggish nuts. Beat this cup, make a nigga wanna do some dirt. Putting in work and I hit him where it hurts. Putting it down both first and I hit him with a weed and curse. I'm worse to worse. Dog if you wantin' the test bomb. The consequences are fatal. Ready to strap pat with it, miss sold up clack back. Cause I've been living mid-label ruthless. And instead of been putting it down, just for the love of money, yeah. For the love of the way.